Hello, Cancer, and Happy New Year. Really looking forward to this reading today. We have a lot more to cover than we normally do because, in addition to looking at your January forecast, I'm going to pull four cards for the new year as well to look at the different quarters of the year. So, last year I split up the videos. This year I'm putting them together. I think it's going to be a lot easier and probably more enjoyable from your perspective to see them back to back. So since there's so much to do, let's get straight into shuffling the cards. And for those that are new, I always like to let you know what's coming. So after I lay out this Celtic cross, I will share with you channeled information that I got. And then we'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny for January. And then after that, we're going to pull four cards, like I said, and look at your karma and your destiny for the whole year. So let's go ahead and see what messages the cards want to share with us right now. I'm using a non-traditional deck here. I believe it's just called the Native American deck, but I have a link in my description area if you're ever curious about which cards I'm reading with. I haven't yet gotten to my Oracle decks because I have about 20 and it just takes time, but I do have all of my tarot decks listed. Okay, your channeled information this month. At first I was getting an image of you sort of like creating, conjuring, manifesting, but what I realized is it was less the act of actual manifestation and actually more you baking the idea in your head. So what January should be all about for you is spending time to really think through what it is you want in the year, and also creatively having a very clear plan is going to be what brings you success. So sometimes it's about acting intuitively and sometimes just flying by the seat of your pants, but I actually think you're going to really benefit in January if you slow down a little bit, focus, figure out what you want to spend your time and your energy doing, and then move forward probably at the end of the month and starting into February. It'll be a lot more interesting actually when we look at the 4 quarters of the year to see which quarter is going to be good for activating your plans. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look first and see what these cards have in store. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a catalyst card as well. And for those of you that join every month, you know that this is the most important card pretty much that I pull because it's going to be pulling together everything. It's like the glue. So, okay, we have New Moon, and it says Promise. And the card was reversed for me, which means that there could be a little bit of an emotional component to this. Whenever I look at a moon card, it has to do with creativity. It has to do with dips in emotion, like an emotional stability. So I want you to be really mindful of how your mind and body are sort of in sync this month, because if you are a little bit feeling like a case of the blues or a little depressed or sad, that's going to pull your not just your energy, but you could also have a unexpected cold or flu. So really take care of yourself and pay attention to what your heart needs just as much as what your head needs, because again, these two things are going to work in tandem. All right. Your center card is beautiful, actually. We have the 10 of Cups, and with this card, what I actually think is many of you have gotten to a point where this is your chance to take a break, to enjoy a little bit. You'll notice we have this animal climbing a tree here. It looks like a possum or something. But what I'm getting from this is keep looking at, for many of you, you've almost accomplished something that you can be very proud about. Think about that wonderful accomplishment. Try not to focus on what you don't have. Look at how much you've got and celebrate the support that's around you. Even though it's not illustrated in this deck, or not traditionally illustrated, in this, the forest is actually the support. But 10 of Cups is a card of having family, friends, and a lot of love around you. It's not so much about material items, it's more about having that emotional support. And because your catalyst card this month was paying attention to emotions, and possibly for some of you creating new relationships, you notice that we have New Moon, the word promise, and a couple on that. What I'm seeing with 10 of Cups as well is stepping into a new relationship for many of you, or into an unknown zone in an existing relationship. So either more intimacy, or for some of you having to be a little bit more independent. So whatever that is, just know that you still have a lot of support around you, and it feels like you've made a lot of positive strides in the previous year. your card that's crossing this is the Five of Wands. So what this is there's a lot of action that's happening around you. I would say I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you are super busy at work, or you're at a point now where we talked about needing to change the relationship. There may be some significant work that needs to be done to get to the next level. So some of you may decide, all right, this is great, but we still have some issues. Maybe we need to work together, or see a counselor. Or for some of you, you're just going to have to really see if your partner is interested in the same thing you are. So there'll be a little bit of a breakthrough moment that's going to have to happen, probably around between the 5th and the 10th of the month. It's sometimes hard to pinpoint, but those are the 2 dates that are coming through. So for you, pay attention, special attention to that time period. When I look at the contributing factors of where you're at right now, I feel like there's been a lot of focus on money. This is the King of Pentacles card. It's in reverse. And with the reverse on this one, what I'm seeing for many of you is just feeling like not knowing if you're stable. It's been very important for a lot of you to make sure that you could sort of predict from day to day, am I going to be able to live in this apartment? Is this job going to stick around? Am I on the right path? So almost a dizzying array of questions that might have been in your head. And what I'd love for you to do is to take a deep breath, let go of some of that tension. For many of you, it could sit in the 3rd chakra. I've been feeling that for some other signs. For the rest of you, it could actually manifest itself sort of as a headache or a migraine. You really want to avoid that. Sometimes these are psychic pains, not necessarily physical manifestations. Of course, if it's something that keeps coming through again and again, you still might want to talk to a doctor. But if you sort of breathe, release, and try not to focus so much on the panic of can I have it, will I have it, is it coming, like all these quick questions that kind of can drive you crazy, then you're going to feel a lot better. When I'm looking at your recent past, we have the 7 of Swords in reverse, actually 7 of Wands in reverse. 7 of Wands in reverse is about, for you, I think it's about realizing that you don't have to do everything. And also not taking too personally anybody's comments. Sometimes they may just mention something and it wasn't sort of like directed towards you. So I would say staying confident, staying cool, calm, and collected, and knowing that, by the way, with 7 of Wands, you're very capable, you're very apt at balancing a lot. So congratulate yourself on that ability to multitask, and know that it's not a sign of weakness to ask for assistance. I'm going to turn the camera back down so you guys can see the cards as I finish this general reading. Your crowning card is fantastic. We have the High Priestess here. In this particular deck, it's a card of fertility and also motherhood. So for some of you, you may feel like either connecting with that side of your personality. So maybe it is about spending time with your children, thinking about starting a family, or if you were to use this sort of maternal or paternal energy and put it into professional sphere, what this really could be is about starting something new. Like a baby can also be a project. So, creating a new business, working on a team at work, and really putting a 110% in to see what can come of that. So it's a good month for that, and especially the first 2 weeks are going to be really fantastic for putting that energy in. It will be very fruitful. As we look towards the middle of the month, and also giving us a sense of where you're headed for this year, we have Judgment. It is Judgment upright, which is a very positive version of the card. And this one is showing, it's showing power for you. So I think that some of you may have an opportunity to look for a job that's a step up. And it is going to be a bold move if you're willing to take it. But it's one where there's a very small window of opportunity, and you might have only like 1 day to make a decision or something like that. And if that happens, all signs are pointing towards it being an okay move, but you have to feel comfortable with it yourself. For those of you that doesn't really apply to, what this card can indicate is a decision on the horizon. Like when we were looking at your relationships here, the 10 of Cups crossed by the 5 of Wands, and then we're looking at Judgment over here. It's deciding, is this enough? Is this what I want? Is this who I want to marry? But it's usually taking this and bringing it to a much elevated level, or again, letting go of it completely. Judgment's not a minor card. It doesn't have the same connotations though as Justice, which is about usually, breaking up, or, doing something because you need to right a wrong or create a space that feels better for yourself. This is really about a decision that you get to make, and you have, trade-offs in either way. So it's not as black and white. There's a lot to consider with this Judgment card. When I'm looking at your ego right now, it's interesting because it's really a card of fear and uncertainty. I like this particular Nine of Swords because it's not so catastrophic looking as the typical one, which will show like a blindfolded woman surrounded by swords. This one is showing that you're more protected than you think, and that part of your, I guess it's the blessing and the problem, is that there's a lot of people that seem to know or think they know what's best for you, but in reality it's your own heart. It's your own heart that you need to pay attention to. And only you can sort of make the right decision. Sometimes we just wish we could hand it over to someone, but that's a very dangerous thing to do. So just take the time to explore all options and opportunities, and know that you're ready. And it's interesting because when I look at your environment, your resources, the situations around you, it feels like I think you're overdue to make a step in one direction or the next. You seem to be a little bit afraid of letting go of something stable. Like I said, it does seem like there's a lot secure here, but you could miss an opportunity if you don't go down that route. Okay, so these windows of opportunity don't come back up sometimes. So for this one, you have to just decide, is the trade-off worth it? Sometimes that means like staying home instead of going to work so that you can start a family or raise a child, or sometimes that means staying in a city rather than moving because you want to be closer to friends or family, or a particular climate suits you better, but you'll give up an opportunity because of that. So there's no wrong or right with this, but I do want you to really sit with that decision before you make it. When I look at your fears and your hopes, we have the Knave of Swords here, the Knight of Swords, and this is a card that's upright, which means you do need to make a decision. It feels like the third week of the month is when this decision should happen. Also, for some of you that are ready for a new relationship, you could have a very bold air sign coming in. So an Aquarius, a Libra, or a Gemini perhaps, and someone who isn't afraid to take risks. This seems like a much bolder air sign than I would normally sort of attribute to that, like a characteristic for an air sign. Because a lot of times they tend to think a lot and be a little bit more even, but this one's going to come in and sort of storm right in. So be aware of that and be grounded yourself no matter what. When we look at the outcome of the month, we have the Two of Pentacles, which is a card of balance. And what I like about this one is I do think that you can still get a lot done. I love that there's arrows in this one. And so that's showing me direction. And we talked about clear vision. So as you balance and as you prioritize, you really want to focus on what you need to get one step further. A lot of times this is a very water-based card. This one is showing a lot more fire. I see a lot of wood in this card and also swords. So it's basically air and fire, and that the two together can actually create a lot of sometimes havoc, but also a lot of growth. And that's why we see all the green here. So what does that mean in lay terms? It means that you have a lot of growth potential this month. There's some sacrifice and some trade-offs that you need to make, and it's a month that may drive you crazy because the Nine of Wands is not usually a card of absolute contentment. It's one where, oh my goodness, I have to make a tough decision. What do I do? So I would advise you to do what is going to feel like you have like the most passion and control, because the High Priestess card is one where you should feel a connection to it. You should actually be like CEO of whatever this little project is. So if you feel like someone else is running the show, then this is something where you have to speak up, whether it's a relationship, a project, or just something else in your life, maybe even a health related issue. This is something where you definitely want to weigh in and be the one that is making some of the tough decisions. Okay, let's expand this out to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll start first with health. I'm going to turn the camera back down so you can see as I shuffle. And that wasn't a great shuffle, so let's shuffle again. And one more time, because I'm still not pleased with that. I really like to give cards a nice, good shuffle. There we go, much better. Okay, so I'm going to pull straight from the middle on this. your health card for this month is to ask your body for a message. So that's basically saying, and the card was reversed for me, which is telling me again to not second guess your intuition on this, but to some of you might be putting off an appointment because you think, or you sort of second guess what you already know, which is, oh, like I have this pain in my side, it's nothing, it ends up being a bruised rib or something. Or you have, a toothache and you think it'll go away, but in reality, it could be something that you could stop now if you go, but if you wait, it's going to be worse. So really pay attention to small aches and pains this month. I'm not advocating for hypochondriacs. I'm just saying make sure that you're not discounting something. For those of you that are in a little bit better health, this can simply mean small adjustments. So are you feeling fatigued? Check your diet or check your sleep schedule. Are you starting to have headaches? Take a look at your glasses and see if you need a new prescription. It's little things. We get warning signs, but sometimes we don't pay attention until it's like full explosion happening. And it's so much better if you go in when it's just a little whisper of something that could be wrong and you completely avoid it because you were proactive. Okay? So again, I gave you a few examples there that it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It could just be something small like make an appointment with your optometrist or, get a massage or something like that. But don't wait until you're way out of alignment so that you need to do more. Okay, let's take a look at your wealth card, which includes both career opportunities and also like educational opportunities, because these are going to eventually lead to wealth. So one more shuffle. We're going to pull from the bottom on this one. Emotional sensitivity. This is really interesting. So two things that came through on this. The first was to avoid emotional spending. So spending when you're sad, spending when you're happy. You should really be in a neutral mindset, just the same way like if you go to the grocery store, you should have already had a snack so that you're not buying on an empty stomach. I would say the same thing is true when you're making decisions about work and money. So sometimes we do it based on ego and think, oh, this job is going to make me look good and people are going to like me and I'm going to do it because of that. Or you think I'm going to buy this because I need this person's approval. And you should be doing things because it feels good. It feels right, not to sort of to fill voids in your life. So be very careful with spending and make sure that it's actually productive, that it's something that's going to have a return, and that it's not just a luxury item or something to sort of like act as a bandage or a salve or something like that. All right, as we look now at your love card, which includes all types of love, from romantic relationships to just friendships and family interactions. Let's see what's coming through for you. So for love, believe in yourself. I sensed and picked up on that a little bit earlier. And it is reversed, which is showing, perhaps putting a lot of your self-worth in other people's hands. And this is saying the way to attract your true partner, a lover, not a teacher, is to fix and focus on yourself first and feel confident, not to the place of being sort of like braggadocio, but feeling like, I'm okay, I'm deserving of someone fantastic, and I'm going to continue to work hard on my own life so that I'm happy. And your happiness is attractive to other people. When they see that joy, when they see that smile happening, they know that there's something that they want to get to know as well. So it all sort of works together. So we looked at health, wealth, love. Now we're going to take a look at your destiny card, and I'm going to use this deck for destiny. Good, that was a good shuffle. Let me just cut the deck a couple of times. Not so successful on that. We'll let those cards go. All right, for this, your destiny card is small steps, asking for help. And there is a sort of sense of youthfulness to this because we see the boy on this. So I also see it as an announcement. So for some of you, you may be thinking of making like a big splash in 2017. This card is saying, okay, that's good, but why not start small and not worry so much about having other people see everything, know everything that's going on. It would be much better to take all these little steps, and before you know it, you'll be where you want to be, and then there'll be something that's worth sharing or talking to people about. But sometimes it's better to keep a little secret to yourself Just keep working on something spectacular and then roll it out, okay? So let's review everything. I know it was a lot to take in. Your channeled information this month is clear vision. The clearer you can be with your goals and your aspirations, the quicker, more easily, more effortless it's going to feel to get to that resolution, to that goal. So stick with it. And as we look at your catalyst card, which, as I said, is one of the most important ones, I see the prospect of a new relationship for some of you, perhaps a very strong air sign, as I mentioned. And you really want to focus on your own emotions this month, so that as you're looking and calling in someone, when we looked at the relationship card, it's really about your own self-confidence and believing in yourself. I'll go back to these in a moment. Let's look at all the cards here in the order that I pulled them. 10 of Cups in the middle, showing that many of you have reached a place where you might have a great group of friends, maybe a fantastic relationship, but there's still some work to be done. And you have to decide now, is this what I want? Is this who I want to be with forever? You have a decision there on how you want to take it, how you want to develop it. For some of you, that could involve parenthood, while others of you that aren't in a relationship at all could be taking this nurturing energy and putting it into your job and your career and trying to start something new. As I look at your past situations, it looks like a lot of you have been putting a lot of focus in material, and I really want you to move it more to sort of the etheric realm, thinking and feeling, rather than material items around you. Remember that you have help around you, and don't be afraid to delegate, to let go of some things, to let go of some of the control. You are more protected than you think, and you have a lot more insight than you give yourself credit for. So you can make these tough decisions without having to weigh in and talk to other people. You're overdue to sort of, for some of you, either move to a new house, move to a new job, or take a risk. And it feels like you've been holding back on that. You have to decide if that's worth it for you. As I said, there's action that's going to be required probably around the third week of the month. And the biggest challenge for you this month is how you're going to spend your time. I like this Two of Pentacles because it's not about a shortage of resources. It's basically about how effective you focus like one of these arrows. So you're going to let one thing go, but really focus on the other thing. And out of that comes a lot of growth. Like I said, there's a lot of fire and there's a lot of air in that card, and that seems really good for you. So health, paying attention to the little things before they become something bigger. Wealth, making sure that you're thinking rationally and not using your heart to make decisions about spending in particular. When we look at relationships, really need to focus more on yourself, on confidence building this month, whether that's through mantras, prayers, or just surrounding yourself with more supportive people. And then knowing that you may be very excited to make an announcement, but I see it being a small step. And later the success happens for you. So don't get discouraged if you're not exactly where you want to be at this point. It's coming. So let me clear all of these cards, and then we're going to take a look at 2017 and see what the whole year has to bring in for you. All right. So let me give this a good shuffle or two since we were just using it. One more good shuffle. A little slower. There we go. All right, so now let's take a look at all of this year. And we're going to do 4 cards. And on top of this, we're going to look at your karma and your destiny for this year. So for karma, which is really the either blessings or baggage that you're bringing from the past, here's your karma. Now let's take a look at your destiny, which is your direction, and it is something that is malleable and that you can change if you're not satisfied with. Okay. So as we look at your karma card, we have the Sage, and the Sage card here in reverse is saying not to second guess any of the research that you've done, any of the knowledge that you've been pulling from the past. I feel like a lot of you've worked really, really hard, but sometimes you don't give yourself credit for working so hard. So the karma here is to be more confident in how hard you've worked, turn this card right side up and realize, you know what, I'm in a good place this year. Your destiny card is, it's about stepping out of your shell. The dragon's lair is about concealing power, right? Concealing wealth, hiding from others, protecting yourself. And so for some of you, this has become such a habit, and you'll notice there's a lot of ice around this, that you may have sort of cut yourself off from some people. So what I want to see this year is an evolution and basically a showing of all that you have to offer without feeling like it's destructive force. Although I do see a need here around the third quarter of the year to really step out, and this is where I see the action happening. I said earlier I wanted to see when it was going to happen. I got it loud and clear. All right. For the first 3 months of the year, January, February, and March of 2017, they're represented by the Empress. It's a beautiful card here, very spiritual looking, this one. You notice that you're going to, I think a lot of you might find your voice, find your power. It's a very good time for you to spend in meditation. And again, I'm getting a motherhood vibe for many of you. So if this has been something you've been thinking about for a long time, then I think the first 3 months of the year are a great time to start planning for a family. Again, as I said earlier, for those of you that have no desire to start a family, this is about either stepping out on your own and creating something new, or stepping up at a present sort of situation. So maybe it's in a relationship, you take a little bit more of a lead, or at work, you decide to go for a higher paying job, or decide to, do something where you're more of a voice, of a force to be reckoned with. But it's a great card, and it's showing me a lot of power, strength, and opportunity coming through from you. Now, the only thing that you want to be cognizant of in those first 3 months is not to forget about other people that may be still struggling to get to that same place. So sometimes an empress or an emperor, they don't always take a look at the people around them. I want you to make sure that you're understanding who's around you and supporting everybody at all levels and giving thanks to everyone at all levels. When we look at the next 3 months of the year, from April to June, so April, May, and June, this is interesting. We've got the Nine of Cups. Usually the Nine of Cups is a card of absolute satisfaction. I'm actually getting partnership for some of you, and also a challenge, an adversary that you could end up having more than just a friendship with. So it could be someone that you meet at work and they kind of get under your skin, but then they get under the skin so much that you want to actually get to know them outside of work. You develop an affection towards them. So this is someone who really is sort of like a yin and yang match. I love the illustration here. I almost never get that connotation when I look at a Nine of Cups card, but for this, I'm seeing someone who feels really good. It could be a very positive partnership, and if you decide to keep it platonic, this is someone who's really a pleasure to work with. The only thing you want to be careful of with Nine of Cups is not to go to extremes, because it's not a balanced card. It is an odd number, and it usually is erring on the side of focusing on all of the positive aspects. So you might want to this is the time to be a little bit more critical, to ask questions, or to be a little more supportive if people are trying to play devil's advocate and ask you tough questions. They're doing it for your own good. The first 3 months is when you don't really need that, but looking at this point, it will benefit you and push you to do better than you think you could do. As we look at July through September, really fiery card here. We have the Nine of Pentacles, and usually, Pentacles is an earth sign, but I get a lot of fire in this, a lot of opportunity when it comes to money and growth, and that's very exciting for you, I think. This is your chance. This is when it's good to make bold moves. So again, that's July, August, and September. Really great time period for you to step out, do something new, and I see a lot of growth coming through on that. A lot of comfort for you as well. So if you play your cards right and things go well for you, then I think it's going to be a really great third quarter. As we look at the final part of the year, October through November, we have the Chariot in reverse. And as I pay attention to this, there's a lot of birds on this one, and usually it's more of a land-based card. And so what I see is things are going to possibly take flight, and you'll feel like you can't keep up with everything. It's going to be very important for those of you that are in a position of power or authority to make sure that you are talking to everyone on your team, that you're paying attention to research, market trends, etc. For those of you that are in a relationship, this is about making sure that you're keeping track of your partner's needs and what's going on in their life. They may feel like they're left, that you're not paying attention to them, basically, that they're on the sidelines and not as important. So you want to check up on people, check up on situations, because otherwise they could kind of get unwieldy, and you're going to have to get to a point where you have to fix everything. And I don't want that for you for the last 3 months of the year. You should be enjoying, relaxing, or reaping the rewards. So stay very active. Don't let things go. Don't get complacent. It's a time to continue keep this momentum and pull it through the last 3 months, so that it's a nice slow burning ember for the rest of the year, that you're going to have a lot of work, a lot of stability, a lot of opportunity. And I think you're going to be in great shape. So 2017 shaping up to be a very exciting year for you. Lots of 9s coming through for you, which means that you're getting close to finishing things. It's not a year of absolute completion, but it is a year of power coming through for you with the Empress card and the High Priestess card, which I saw before. So definitely very, very good for you in stepping into more of a sort of like management position, or having people recognize you. So don't be afraid to take power back in this year. I think that'll be the biggest and most beneficial thing that you could do, rather than sort of keeping to yourself and not letting people see your true potential. All right, so if you'd ever like I said, a more detailed one, I still do the 12 card spread, but it was too timely this month to do all of that. But I actually like this. I think this was a great way to get a feel for the year, rather than overwhelming you with month by month by month, because it's a little much to take at the very beginning of the year. So thank you so much. I hope that this gave you the guidance that you needed. I'll be back next month, and we'll continue this journey and see what else 2017 has to show. If you'd like to stay in touch, I have a couple methods. You can subscribe to this video. I know a lot of people don't like to do that with YouTube or Google, so I also have a newsletter, and on the 1st of every month, I'll send out a reminder that the videos are posted. So that's one way you can stay in touch. I'm also on most of the major social networks, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So feel free to follow me on whatever feels good, or be as involved or not as involved as you'd like. It's up to you. If you'd like to support me as well, I put an optional link at the end, and you can donate if that feels right. Otherwise, I want to thank you just for the support, the likes, the comments, and just being with me for these 15 to 20 minutes once a month. It really means a lot. I'm going to try to post a little bit more often in the new year on different topics, so we'll see how that goes, because I want to expand sort of what I'm doing on this channel. I always like tarot, but I want to also talk about spiritual development as well. So I hope that resonates with everybody. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.